Should you buy the new Galaxy S24 Plus, which is definitely the best choice for so many people, including myself, or buy the last year S23 Ultra, which was the best smartphone of last year, and now the price is much cheaper? So which should you spend your money on? That's what we're going to find out in today's video. So please stay tuned to the end of this video. And if you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and turn on notification for a lot of good videos come up on Big Phil TV. Let me start this video by talking about the prices of these two smartphones, because I know everybody knows money is very important. You need money to buy any of these phones, and not everybody have a lot of money lying around to spend on smartphones, and some people are on a budget. So which is cheaper? The new Galaxy S24 Plus, which is very new, costs $1,000, which is still a lot of money, but it's cheaper than the S24 Ultra. The S23 Ultra, last year it was like $1,200, but right now you can pick it up for as cheap as $900, even less than. You just got to look around, and also depending on the amount of storage you're going for, the S23 Ultra is much cheaper right now. You just got to look around on either eBay, AliExpress, or Amazon for the best price. So when it comes to prices, if you're out there and you need a good smartphone, you're on a budget, then the S23 Ultra is definitely the winner. But you want to stick around to the end of this video to find out other reasons why the S24 Plus might be a better choice to go for. For the design of these two smartphones, I will honestly say the S24 Plus is better looking. I mean, it just depends on what kind of phone you like. The reason why I'm saying on my opinion is because the S24 Plus is just little. It's just compact, easy to carry around. It fits perfectly in the hands. It's very comfortable in the hands as compared to the S23 Ultra, which is a very big phone. At 6.8 inches, it is big. It's quite uncomfortable to some people, especially if you have a little hands. Then the S23 Ultra is going to be very uncomfortable in your hands. But they both look great. They're all great looking smartphones. The S24 Plus, Samsung went with all square design. Everything is square. I mean, it looks similar to an iPhone, which is a good thing because so many people were fans of the iPhone, the design. It has a flat display, no curve display, no curved edges. It's just completely flat. Everything is just squared up. The S23 Ultra of last year had a little bit of curve. Even the display has a little bit of curve, not too much, even though this year Samsung completely removed the curved display on all their smartphones. So these two smartphones are good looking. It's just going to be based on what type of phone you're into, big phones or little phones, curved display or flat display. That's just going to depend on each and every one. But to me, both smartphones looks great. And size-wise, the S24 Plus, which as I mentioned earlier is very compact, it is 6.7 inches. This year, Samsung increased the size to 1 inch, which is a good size. It's similar to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. My iPhone 15 Pro Max is 6.7 inches. I had these two smartphones side by side, and I realized that the iPhone is slightly bigger than the Galaxy S24 Plus. So the Galaxy S24 Plus has a great size, while the S23 Ultra is a big phone at 6.8 inches. Some people love it because it's great for gaming, great for watching videos, great for taking photos. I mean, it's great for content consumption, but it might be a little uncomfortable in some people's hands. And for the build quality, they are both similar. Now, what I mean is these two smartphones has aluminum frame. The glass is the same, Gorilla Glass Victus 2, both on the front display and at the back of the display. These two smartphones has IP68 water and dust resistant, which according to Samsung, you can submerge both up to 1.5 meter for about 30 minutes. So their build quality is great. And in terms of hardware features, they are very similar. They both have USB Type-C, no headphone jack, no external SD card. So if you're going for any of these smartphones, you have to get the best storage option because there is no more SD card slot. They both have stereo speakers and they sound great thanks to the fact that they are tuned by AKG. For the display, these two smartphones have great display. but the Galaxy S24 Plus is definitely the winner. That's because Samsung improved the display of this year S Plus so much better than even the Galaxy S23 Ultra of last year. The S24 Plus has a 6.7 inches of dynamic LTPO AMOLED 2X screen with 120Hz refresh rate, HDR10 Plus, with a resolution of 1440 by 3120. It has a PPI density of 513 and the peak brightness can goes up to 2600 nit. Yes, guys, that is crazy. That's super bright, crazy bright. The S23 Ultra of last year was also a great display. Last year, it was a great display, but this year, as compared to the S24 Plus, nah. It has a dynamic AMOLED 2X screen, which that means there is no LTPO with the last year S23 Ultra. It has a 120Hz refresh rate. It has HDR10 Plus, but the peak brightness can only goes up to 1750 nits. So it's much lower than the S24 Plus. Even the resolution is just 1440 by 3088. So also lower than the S24 Plus. The PPI density is also lower at 500 PPI as compared to 513 on the S24 Plus. So when it comes to display, the S24 Plus is definitely the clear winner. The processor on the S24 Plus is also better than the S23 Ultra of last year. It has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Generation 3 with Adreno 750. It is running on Android 14 with Samsung One UI 6.1 on top of it. The S23 Ultra of last year was released with Android 13, but now you can upgrade it to Android 14 and also with Samsung One UI 6. But it is running on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. So if you're going for the last year, so you're going for the old processor. And also the fact that the S24 Plus will have 7 years updates, 7 years software update as compared to 5 years on the S23 Plus. When it comes to the internal storage, the S24 Plus has 256 gigabyte with 12 gig of RAM and 512 gigabyte with 12 gig of RAM. While the S23 Ultra starts at 256 but with 8 gig of RAM. So if you need 12 gig of RAM, you have to go for the 512 or the 1 terabyte that has 12 gig of RAM for the S23 Ultra. The battery capacity of the S23 Ultra is slightly bigger than the S24 Plus. It has a 5000 milliamps battery as compared to 4900 milliamps on the S24 Plus. But you can charge these two smartphones the same at 45 watt wire charging, 15 watt wireless charging, and 4.5 watt reverse wireless charging. Same on both smartphones. So if you're looking for a phone with much bigger battery that can last a bit longer, then the S23 Ultra is the winner. The only category where the S23 Ultra is highly better is in terms of the cameras. There are 4 main cameras on the S23 Ultra as compared to 3 cameras on the S24 Plus. On the S23 Ultra, there is a 200 megapixel at f1.7, which is wide angle. There is a 10 megapixel at f4.9, which is a telephoto lens. There is another 10 megapixel at f2.4, which is also a telephoto lens. And lastly, there is a 12 megapixel at f2.2, which is ultra wide angle. With these cameras, you can shoot up to 8K videos at 24 or 30 frames per second. On the S24 Plus, there are 3 main cameras. The cameras are, there is a 150 megapixel at f1.8, which is wide angle. There is a 10 megapixel at f2.4, which is telephoto lens. And lastly, there is a 12 megapixel at f2.2, which is ultra wide angle. And with these cameras also, you can shoot 8K videos at 24 or 30 frames per second. And lastly, let's talk about some of the other reasons that might help you to decide on which phone to go for. First of all, the software. The S24 Plus will have 7 years of updates, of software updates. 7 years. That is a lot, because someone who want to use their phone for a much longer time, you want to have a constant update of the phone. So S24 Plus is definitely a better buy than the S23 Ultra that will only have 5 years, and right now it is already 1 year old, so you have 4 more years left. And these two smartphones, they both have in-display fingerprint, which is great, very accessible, very fast, easy to use. They both have stereo speakers, as I mentioned earlier. They both have USB Type-C, which, and unfortunately, there's no more headphone jack. Headphone jack is gone. They both have NFC, Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.3, GPS, and Samsung DeX, Samsung wireless DeX, and lots of other important features that you will take advantage of if you own any of these two smartphones. Now, what is my final verdict about these two smartphones? Which one do I honestly think is the better buy for you? Let me first of all say these two smartphones are great. You won't go wrong buying any of them. It's just going to depend on personal preferences. If you like big phones that are big in the hands, then the S23 Ultra is definitely the way to go. And right now it is much cheaper. So you're going to save at least $300 going for the S23 Ultra. But if you're looking for a phone that you're going to use for a long time, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, then the S24 Plus is definitely the way to go. It is a great smartphone. This year, Samsung gave the S24 Plus lots of great specs. The display is as good as the top Ultra. The battery life has been improved. It's much bigger now, and with lots of AI features. If you're a fan of AI, like the AI translation, the AI for photos, the AI for video editing, so many AI features are available on the S24 Plus, but there is no AI feature on the S23 Ultra. So if it's my money, if I have to choose between any of these two phones, I will go for the S24 Plus. Yeah. And let me know down in the comment section, guys, what are your thoughts? Which one will you go for? Let us know down in the comment section. And thank you guys for watching this video.